6-set match map is Naro Station, spawning in the bottom left-hand position from SK Telecom as the red Protoss. His name is Paralyze, and he has an afro, whatever you want to call it.
His opponent spawning as the blue Protoss on the top right position on Naro Station. His name is JYP, playing for EGTL.
JYP, of course, you know, his name abbreviated in Romanized characters.
Actually copying the famous entertainer in Korea.
That's it. All right, guys. So it's 3-2 between SK Telecom and EGTL. If SK can win here, they will secure victory. If not, they'll go to the ace match.
This is gonna be funky in the ace match because we get all these different players, different potential aces from each team that could be sent out. For example, EGTL, they could send out Tager again, even though he hasn't been playing in Pro League a lot. They've been sending out Jadong a lot recently, but they could still send out players like Hero or JYP. Well, maybe not Hero because we're in Yongsan, but you know, JYP is certainly a possibility if he wins this game today.
I'd have to say Tasia is a pretty solid pick here because there's just so many Protosses on SK Telecom's lineup, and Jadong is very weak against Protoss, so it would be actually really weird for them to send out Jadong here.
SK Telecom T1, however, I mean, they could send out, they'll probably send out a Protoss, but they have so many different Protoss they could send out.
Yeah, they basically, they could even send out Fantasy if they wanted. He played pretty solid today. He won against Oz. Actually played really good today, I want to say.
I don't know how great his TBT is, however.
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes we saw the brilliance from his bio play, which is something that we never saw from Brood War with Fantasy plus bio. But look at this. JYP going for the proxy pylon outside of his main base.
Yeah, this is quite interesting. We could see either Stargate or maybe Twilight Tech from him. Generally, people don't really proxy their robos. That's just like kind of not a thing that works. But this is going to be a pretty big commitment from JYP here because he's building that pylon there and he's also keeping that probe there. So this early on in the game, that is a bit of an investment, and we're going to find out very soon what JYP has planned for this match here.
It seems like he wanted to, and, you know, some people might be asking, you know, that pylon was put down, you know, hasn't been timed at all, but all it was trying to do is making sure that the early probe scout does not see the probe going out by his opponent. And we have tons of gas saved up by JYP, so it's most likely going to be a Stargate.
Stargate indeed it is from EGTL. Now this probe is going to go into the main base and scout the lack of that additional pylon, which is definitely going to prompt Paralyze that, hey, there's a proxy somewhere else on the map. Where is it? Is this pylon hidden somewhere in my base?
He's looking around right now, trying to see where the extra tech building is. So sometimes these, you know, quote unquote, you know, favors to win the game. You know, like Paralyze, he's like, you know, 50%, but if you just look at the player names, JYP is the better player. So sometimes you expect Paralyze to not scout those little things, but Paralyze is on top of his game right now, trying to scout it, and it seems like he's going to go in the right direction, but so close, but no cigar.
No. Oh, wait.
Never mind.
He's going to be moving his probe out there. Is he going to see it? Oh, so close. Just, he is barely missing that Stargate. This is actually so scary. Paralyze misses the proxy play there. That's actually a huge mistake from him. But we do have a Stalker Enzel moving across the map here from Paralyze, wanting to get aggressive. He is also going for a Stargate of his own, but the issue is, you know, this the Oracle is going to finish a lot faster for JYP. So if he can do a critical amount of damage with it, then he's going to be in an excellent position. And now we have Paralyze moving in here with a lot of his units. He's being very aggressive with this Stalker, just, you know, overextending a little bit. One hit from dying there, but there's no defense in the main base. Actually, there is one Stalker here, and after seeing the Oracle, this will allow Paralyze to buy enough time to defend against this pressure.
Something that we didn't point out is what was so smart about you know, you said he was overextended. The reason why he was overextended is to make sure that there was some tech inside the main base. That's why Paralyze, after not seeing that, he left the Stalker inside the main base against some kind of defense against the Oracle. Now, the Oracle is still going to do a lot of damage because he doesn't have that much units back at home, but at least Paralyze knew about the Oracle before it arrived inside the main base.
It's the sniping off 5 workers there, so not a terrible trade for JYP. He could have gotten 1 or 2 more, and that would have definitely made the investment worth it, but at least he did keep the probe alive. But now there's a Phoenix on the way, going to be scouting. And look at this from EGTL's JYP going for Blink, adding on 3 more gateways here. And this could be a very powerful follow-up because essentially we're going to have Paralyze go into Mass Phoenix.
Yeah, Paralyze needs to scout. He's going to try to go for the Oracles right now. So once he snipes the Oracle, the main priority is making sure he stops their Phoenix production and goes inside his opponent's main base right away and see what he is doing. I mean, right now, he's down on 1 gateway. He's making constant Phoenix, which is not really going to help him out against the Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, if basically the biggest issue for Paralyze here is if he doesn't scout this, he's not going to have any sentries ready. Well, he has 1 there, but there is going to be that militia core, and we can even use Revelation from the Oracle.
So now we have the 4 gateways up. The pylon is in position already, and Stalkers are getting warped in. The Phoenix does scout it. The hallucinated Phoenix does scout the units out on the map, and now he knows that he's in some type of trouble.
Oh yeah, he's going to know instantly that there is a Blink attack coming, and it's going to be up to Paralyze to, buy enough time essentially to defend against this. Now the problem is the Stalker count is very, very far in JYP's favor, but if he can just do some damage at the front and then counter, or then use the Oracle. Oracle's moving in, doing damage to the probes on the mineral line, but a few Phoenixes are moving to the natural there, the snipe off or snipe off that Oracle there. And now the Phoenix is doing their best to try to lift off a few units here. JYP doing some damage, not a critical amount, but he still is slightly ahead in supply.
That's all he needs to do. I mean, the time is on JYP's side. He has a Blink. His opponent needs to get the Void Rays out, but nice left with the Phoenix, but is that going to be enough? Seems like JYP is fighting outside of the cannon's position, and it's going to be enough to kill more Stalkers than Paralyze is going to do right now.
Yeah, those Phoenixes getting sniped off quite easily there. JYP showing some nice control here. Going to be focusing down that pylon. Paralyze essentially backed off into a corner here, and as soon as that Nexus cannon is done, then JYP is going to continue to move in here. He's going to be able to snipe off that gateway as well. And there will be a Void Ray that finishes, but the problem is, look at that, the Void Ray will get sniped down there. Forward Blink on these Blink Stalkers because the Mothership Core Cannon is off of the Nexus now. The probes coming off the mineral line. As long as JYP controls this perfectly, then he will have no problem taking this game and securing a victory for EGTL, bringing them into the ace match.
Not scouting the Stargate really hurt him. I mean, he knew about some type of Oracle. GG.
That's going to be it. JYP showing a very good game there, and the Oracle, it didn't do a huge amount of damage, but it did just enough to force the Phoenixes out of his opponent, and then with the Blink Stalker follow-up, we've seen this build once before. It's been proving very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, he has some idea that there was going to be a proxy play. He just didn't know what it was going to be, so Paralyze was left in the situation. It's like, oh, I have the 1 Stalker in my main base, but, I need to know what my opponent's up to, and as soon as he started thinking about that, the Oracle hit bought enough time because he crippled the economy of his opponent. He didn't kill as many probes, but you also have to count into the fact that Paralyze pulled all of his probes from the mineral line to save as much as possible.
So JYP just securing just enough damage to get ahead and then go for the Blink Stalker attack. Good control, good composure from JYP, and he was showing some pretty solid form there. So now the score is tied up 3-3 between SK Telecom T1 and Evil Genius' Team Liquid. And we're going to have to find out who's going to be the next ace player for both teams here.
I would have to say most likely Teja on Aquila Waste, but we might see a PvP again.
Yep, that's
true. With JYP playing like this, we might see a PvP again coming out. Now, SK Telecom T1, they have so many Protoss players they could send out. I mean, we only had 2 players who won today, Harding and Rain, but their lineup is so solid that it's most likely going to be a Protoss player if they want to win today.
I'd actually be very surprised if we didn't see Rain or Harding sent out here, because this is a very strong Protoss map when you're fighting against Terran, because we've seen time and time again against Terran players, the Protoss, they can just go for those immortal all-ins off 2 base, and they do a crap ton of damage, and they're so hard to stop because there's the back rocks entrance on Aquilon Wastes, and the front